This is Diving Falcon FPV. Haven't made a video in forever. I said I wasn't gonna make this video. I haven't been flying for like over a year, and I said I wasn't gonna make this video because I was just like, oh, you know, I don't even know if it's gonna work. But I'm putting a Moonlight VTX, Caddx Moonlight VTX on a B25, which is not made for, and the Moonlight's bigger than the 03. And there's a lot of people that print custom mounts for it to work, and I just wanted to try to do it without having to buy a custom mount. So let's see where I'm at. Just using my cell phone to film this. I didn't set up GoPros or anything because I wasn't. Alright, well, this is, I'm using my old flight controller from my old 95 version 3X, whatever thing this was called. I had analog in it. I couldn't fit a Moonlight in it. I don't want to have to carry an action camera anymore, you know. So I'm just using the old motors and flight controller from that. So where I'm at is, well, starting with the frame is there was a bar here. Focus camera. There was a bar there. So you look right here, focuses. I grind this down because it sits out. This is it in the little thing. It sits out past it a little. So it was sitting on that bar. It also sits out the bottom a little. With like 2 millimeters or something. It sits out past the back 1 millimeter or less. The bottom little. I also, to get their stock antennas in there, focus, work with me to get their stock antennas. I just gradually cut a slit in it to fit that through because I didn't want to have to take the antennas off. I'll just put a little glue to hold the antennas in. But where I'm at is this sits a little higher, so it's hard to just lay it on there just for show, but it sits a little, that cable is going to go down in there, but just to lay it there. So it ends up sitting a tiny bit. Of course it doesn't want to go on. I have one hand. It sits a little bit higher. It'll go down, but so I'm going to have to add some washers to something, maybe just stabilize a little. I have to use longer screws than what they sent. I also had to cut a slit in the top a little bit to fit the SD card in. I was a little off where I started cutting. That's why that hole's so big. If you're better than me, you can just maybe make a mark and then just cut the slit instead of doing it without it in there and thinking I knew where it was. So also, besides that, it's on the other side. Hold on. I used a hand drill. I didn't use a power drill, but I drilled out the holes where those little mounting things are, so that the case sits down on it instead of sitting over right there. It would sit over those. It can sit down in it. And I also drilled the top one too to help. The other problem I haven't checked yet but the camera doesn't exactly fit in there perfect. I was thinking about putting washers so that screw doesn't pull through the rubber, but I think I'm putting washers, but it doesn't fit in there perfect. I can maybe heat up this plastic and bend it in closer, maybe, you know, mess with this a little more. But I'll take another video when I actually mounted what I was waiting for and see. I have to use, I believe, a 12 millimeter screw for this, so that the back end here screw will reach the mount. Let me see if I can get it on. So they send like an 8 millimeter screw, I believe, with it, and it'll be a little short because it's sitting up a couple millimeters high, and you just have that gold thing to screw into, which is only 2 millimeters. So I'm gonna have to use, I think the exact measurement, which would have been perfect, was like 11, but I think I only have a 12 and a 9. I have to look for more screws. I just tested it, I think, with a 9, and I think it was just a tiny bit short. It probably works fine. My 12 might be too long, but I want to put washers between that and that. I figured that'll just give it a little more support for sliding. The front one is just barely a little bit higher. Yeah, so I'll see. So far it seems like it works. I haven't put it all together yet, but I haven't seen anyone do a video on this, putting the Moonlight in there. I seen someone post on Facebook, but I figured I'd just do this where I'm at. There's the gray frame. I started doing that, but I was like, I was gonna start and just do it on this one. Come on, focus. I started on that. And I was just gonna do it on this one, but and test it first. But I was just like, you know, I don't have an 03 to fit in there. They don't sell 03s anymore. I had to extend the motor wires because they, from that one to this one, because this board sits a little different. I guess it doesn't, it sits a little forward, so these motor cables in our drone weren't fitting. So I just added these LEDs to it just so I can extend the wires. And then I just used the plugs again. I know I didn't solder it on, but it's a 2.5. I don't think it really matters that much. Alright, well, I'll make another video when I'm finished.